Hey neighbor, we're going to be talking about seed saving today. This can be kind of a confusing subject here, a lot of hype around seed saving. Should you be saving seeds, and how do you save those seeds? That's the topic for today. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. Well, a lot of people want to save seeds, and some of them don't understand why. I have saved some seeds before. Now you're right now on this native seed thing, where you're saving seeds for native plants. I don't care where we go. You got on a rock thing one time. I don't care where we went one time. She had to get.
I'm still on that. I always, if we go anywhere there's a creek, I've got to get a rock.
She got to get some rocks and bring home. We've got rocks here from all over the world. But now she's on this native plant thing. If we go somewhere and see this plant bloom, she's got to get some seed pods off of it to save.
Yeah. If anybody watches Cog Hill, and when he goes down the road and he sees a rose and he gets all giddy and excited, that's kind of how I get when I see something. Where we go fishing.
The world stops and we have to stop and get seeds.
Where we go fishing. And hibiscuses, I just have a thing. Hibiscus is like my favorite flower. But where we go fishing at this bridge, last year there was one, and I got it, but it wasn't at the right time. So we went, was it last week? And there was just a pile of pink hibiscus. No, that's
not one of them?
No, no, I planted them.
You did plant them in the ground. I've been watering them.
They come up?
They hadn't as of yesterday.
Yeah. So I may have to go get some more.
So you've had a learning experience with seed saving because you're kind of new at it. Last year you tried some white
Roselle. This is not white Roselle. This is the white hibiscus. But I was trying to save the petals and the seed at the same time, which was wrong.
And I tried to give you some advice, and it was all in vain.
You don't save anything that looks like this.
No.
You want it to, this is the same one, you want it to dry on the vine.
Yeah, with seed saving, you want to think about the natural progression of the way plants do. So plants have one primary goal in their life. It's not to produce a beautiful, well-edible fruit for you. It is to reproduce. That is a plant's goal in life, is to reproduce. So follow along with the way that cycle reproduces. And most time when that plant starts dying out, then you'll start seeing mature seed pods. And that's the mistake you made. You didn't get mature seed pods.
Yeah, that whole bag, I spent hours and hours and hours.
Germination is very poor because the seed pods will not mature.
Right, yeah. I know that now.
Yep. So anyhow, lessons learned, we move on.
Learned.
But talking about saving seeds, that is one thing that you have to understand is you want to save those seeds from fruit that is mature.
Mm-hmm. So you have to leave the fruit. Say if you were going to save cucumber seed, you've got to let that cucumber
get big and yellowish,
and fat,
ugly. So we actually, when we pick cucumbers for us to eat, we pick them as what we call immatures. Mm-hmm. So they're immature to seed development stage. There are a lot of plants are like that. Sometimes tomatoes are like that. If we pick tomatoes in the orange or pink stage, we're picking them as immatures and letting them ripen up. You cannot pick a pink or a orange type tomato that's not fully ripe, save the seeds and get good results out of it. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the two different types of seeds, two different types of plants, and there's actually more than two, but we're going to limit it down to two. And we're going to talk about the ones that's easy to save the seeds from and the ones that are not so easy to save the seeds from, and why you want to save those seeds and to start in the first place, and maybe some liabilities of saving seeds.
Mm-hmm. But what I've learned, timing is everything.
Timing is everything. So with seeds, we've got two different kinds. We've got dry seeds and we've got what we call wet seeds. Dry seeds are things such as beans, okra, corn, things like that dry out and that are easy to save. If you want to save you some bean seed, butter bean seed, or pea seeds, or even corn seed, those are easy. You just simply wait till they dry out and you shell them off and you save them. Now, one of the things you want to make sure that you do is you want to save the cream of the crop. from these plants. So if you've got a crop of corn, this is what the old timers did. And I don't know that you know this, but you ever seen the old wagons that they used to use, the horse-drawn wagons that used to use to harvest, when they harvested corn on the cob? They had a little box on the side of it there. And most people don't know this, but that little box was a seed corn box.
Huh.
As they harvested the field corn, or any type of corn, mostly field corn, if they came across a corn cob that was really large and really filled out really well, that maybe was a little bit above and beyond the other ones, they save that and put it in.
So choose the healthiest, most vigorous plant.
That's right.
Don't get a sick plant.
Don't get a sick plant. So what you want to do with seed saving is you want to cull out those bad plants and go to the best ones there. So ideally what you want to do is you want to save seeds from the best plants. Now you may have a row of butterbean seeds like I've had in the past where they all look okay. Well, it's okay together from all of them. I've done that several times. But if you got a few of them in there that are bad plants where they didn't have the vigor that the others does, definitely leave those off saving. So we got those dry seeds. Those dry seeds are easy peasy. And if you're going to start seed saving, that's the ones to start with. You can take those pea seed, bean seed, corn seed, okra seed. Am I missing anything here? All different kind of stuff.
Peppers,
there.
squash.
Peppers is going to be kind of in the middle there a little bit. Squash is going to be a wet seed. We're talking about dry seed.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about those dry seeds. What you want to do there is wait till that pod is mature right before it opens up and lets those seeds grow, fall on the ground. That's the ideal time to harvest them. This right here, if we can see that right there is full of seeds, but it's fixing to release those seeds. So now is the ideal time to harvest that. This right here is already released some of those seeds on the ground, so it's a little bit late on that one right there. That being said, you're going to have to leave your plants out there a little bit longer.
This is tarragon.
Same thing, that's a dry seed. Yep.
It's a dry seed. And when I was reading about it, but it's not quite ready. See, they don't come off. But for the seeds that you want to save that's going to fall off, they've got these little bags you can put on them to catch the seeds.
I've never done that, but I've seen them before. So you want to gather those seeds out, and then you got to clean those seeds. Now with the dry seeds, that's not that big of a deal. So you can take those seeds, separate them out, and I've used a fan before, or you can. I've got some wire things.
Just basically, you want to
separate them,
lay them out on a non-stick surface, and how long you let them dry?
Oh, I've let mine dry to 2 weeks. So I will lay out paper towels and just have bunches of trays. I use my seed storing trays with paper towels on them, and lay my seeds on that and let them dry.
Yeah. Was it Cherokee?
Cherokee tan that we grew.
And a Guande squash.
A Guande squash that we saved. Now those are wet seeds. Same thing that you got to let them dry out. But harvesting those wet seeds is going to be a lot more cumbersome than the dry seeds. Dry seeds are going to be the easiest. Let's get into wet seeds. Of all the plants that most people are more interested about saving the seeds from, it is tomatoes, as we see right here. These are what we call wet seeds, and these are the hardest because you got to separate that seed from that gelatin coat around that right there. Tomatoes are the worst. Squash is probably the second worst. And then we get into things like peppers that are not near as bad, but tomatoes are the worst.
So how do you do tomatoes?
The way my granddaddy did it. I didn't realize at the time what he was doing, but this is what you do. You let that tomato get just as ripe as it can get right before it starts spoiling. Red ripe, it actually gets soft on the vine. And then you pick it, and then what he did was he put them all, because he was saving a lot of seeds, he put them in a metal trash can. And he took like a squisher and squished them all up as good as he could. Now you can do this on a lot smaller scale.
A squisher.
A squisher. You can use like a jar, anything like that, and you could scoop those seeds out the best you can. The idea here is to get all that in there. If you're doing a lot of them, just do the whole tomato. If you're doing just a few of them, try to work in there and get that out. You still gonna get a lot of that gel in there, and that gel is your enemy. Enemy, because you got to get that gel separated as much as possible to get those viable seeds off there. You want to go through what we call the fermentation process. So you want to, after you get it squished up, those seeds in there, you want to cover that with a breathable fabric or anything that's going to allow that to breathe. 2 to 3 days, and that mash in there is going to ferment, and it's going to help separate that gel from that seed right there. And what you're going to find is a lot of your trash and everything will float to the top, and your non-viable seeds, your bad seeds, will float to the top, and your good seeds will go to the bottom. You can do this same process a time or two, because I remember him doing it a time or two and help it separate more and more. Then after that, you can take them out, wash them down with a high pressure water, and that separates them out pretty good.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Now, why would you want to save a tomato seed? Maybe you got a tomato that's been handed down from generation to generation, but it has to be an open pollinated variety to be able to save it, for it to come back true to variety. We can save heirlooms and we can save open pollinated, because all heirlooms are open pollinated, but all open pollinated are not heirlooms.
Got it.
Got it?
Don't ask me to repeat that.
So we can save these seeds right here. They will come back true to variety if it is not a hybrid. So that's the reason you want to save it. You could do that. If it's got a particular variety you want to save, then hey, have at it. It's a fun hobby to have. Now, I don't think it's something that you should solely depend on, but it's something. I personally don't save tomato seeds. I personally don't save pepper seeds. Now, I do save some pumpkins and some winter squash. I have been guilty of that. And of course, I love to save some of my beans and some of my corns, especially my corns. Let's look at this banana squash, pepper right here. Now, I said a while ago, this one's kind of one in those middle right here. This is probably classified as a wet type seed saving, because the seed is inside the fruit. However, these really don't have that gel on there, and these are going to be so much easier to save. So if you wanted to save some pepper seeds, I think seed saving is probably pretty easy.
Good.
Yep. I would actually let these mature out just a little bit longer there, and this is a mature banana pepper there. And you see all those seeds in there, you're going to let those dry. Those are going to be easy to harvest right there. You're not going to need to ferment these to get that gel off of them, because there's not a lot there. But that's going to be easy. Here is one right here. This, you can see how it's shriveled up. Shriveled up. This is going to be easy. Now, this is probably a little bit further along, and this is probably toward the stage we can actually get those pepper seeds out of there. If I can get into it. The skin's doesn't got kind of rubbery. Yep. See how those seeds are turning out more of a darker, mature color right there? Those are ready to harvest right there. And one little pod right there can give you lots and lots of seeds. But you got to save from open pollinated to make those seeds viable to come back like you want it to, true to variety.
Touch your tongue now.
Nope. Ain't gonna do it.
That you gonna regret that. That is a hot pepper.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a new variety that I was trialing out this year.
I freeze dried some and made pepper flakes.
Yep.
And it's pretty potent.
So my thing for me is beans. I love saving beans. Right here is some Reverend Taylor that I should have saved more of. I saved a good many, and I'm down.
That's all you got.
That's all I got. I got to save more next year. Beans, corn is my thing, and some squash. Now, most of our vegetables are what we consider annuals. Mm-hmm. That means you can save the seed off of them the same year. Tomatoes, same year. Peppers, same year. Of course, corn and squash and all that. There are some things out there that's more difficult to save the seed off of. There are things such as carrots, beets, that are biannuals.
You have to wait.
They don't actually seed out, and some onions. They don't actually seed out to the next year. And that's the reason you don't hear a lot of people talk about saving seeds from carrots and onions and beets, because it is a long process. It's a second year process that you can save those seeds. So if you live in a climate that's cold and it's going to kill them back, they're not going to make it. Have to have that's the reason a lot of our seed varieties like that are planted in real tropical regions, so that they live for a 2-year period before they seed out.
What about cross-pollination and saving seeds?
That can be an issue. All right, so let's talk about cross-pollination with things such as tomatoes. It's nearly impossible to cross-pollinate a tomato because the tomato has a male and female part on the same flower. They're what we consider self-pollinating. The ones that we have trouble cross-pollinating is the ones such as cucumbers. Any of the cucurbits are bad to cross-pollinate because they have male flowers and female flowers. Anytime that you have a plant that has two different flowers on there, a male and a female, a lot bigger chance of the cross-pollination than they are self-pollinating things such as peppers and tomatoes right there.
And now some people intentionally plant the different types. Like I think I've seen Andy talk about he's trying to come out with some type of corn.
Yeah, corn is one of those kind of different ones of that. Corn's pollinated by the wind. So Andy is actually working on, I believe it's Jimmy Red corn and something else he's crossing over. But corn's pollinated by the wind, and off the top of my head, I can't give you the exact isolation area that you got to have corn by, but corn will cross-pollinate more so than those things such as peppers and tomatoes, things like that. Not quite as bad as cucurbits because they're pollinated by the wind. Cucurbits are pollinated by insects, but the wind will blow pollen in on corn. So corn is kind of in the middle there between the two there. If you want to grow corn for a seed crop, you definitely need to think about some isolation there. You getting a call? So corns, these heirloom corns are a big thing for me. I love the heirloom corns, so those are really fun. Beans are really fun. Beans right there are self-pollinating, so they're not near as out to cross-pollinate. You don't have much problem with beans and peas and stuff like that cross-pollinate.
What about flowers?
Flowers, most of them will cross-pollinate. So I was just looking before we came on here. Most flowers are open-pollinated, but there's some that are not. And most time you can tell by the price of the flower whether it's a hybrid or not. To give you an example, the pro-cut sunflowers are hybrids. That's our most expensive sunflower. But most of our other sunflowers are open-pollinated, so you could save the seeds off of it.
There's some sunflower seeds.
So another one is zinnia seeds. This zinnias right here. Okay, see those zinnia seeds right there? Most zinnias are open pollinated and are real easy to save seeds off of. Probably one of the easiest things because the seeds are large and everything.
But you have to wait till all the petals fall off.
Yep.
Let it get really dry.
Same thing with sunflowers.
Yeah. And also you want to do it on a dry day. Like today, after all the rain, you would not want to go.
No, you wait till it gets dry. The heat and dry weather is your friend on seed saving. To give you an example on zinnias, most zinnias are open pollinated, but there are some of these newer varieties that are hybrids. Give you an example of that. Some of our binary series, some of our weird colors or really pretty colors, such as scarlet, are hybrids. But the binary giant mix that we sell is open pollinated, so you can save the seeds off it. So there is some unusual things in there. But you know, with flowers, unless you're really into all that, even if you saved a hybrid zinnia seed, you're probably gonna get a pretty, it may not be exact, but you're gonna get a pretty zinnia come back there. So I wouldn't fret the flowers a whole lot. Now the tomatoes and things like that, you definitely don't wanna save any of the hybrid seed. With hybrid seeds, you're gonna get, if you save the seeds off that, you're gonna get what we call an F2. And F2 is not gonna come back true to variety.
I've seen, talking about corn, I've seen Danny talk about, and
Danny at Deep South?
at Deep South, and he goes through and looks at every kernel, and what is he looking for?
He's looking for good, big kernels.
Okay.
Yep, so he'll actually pick those out. Most people don't go to that trouble, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually
Well,
being,
I think he sells it, doesn't he?
he does sell it, and that's actually part of being what we call a good seedsman. So a good seedsman will cull out and look for those bigger seed kernels and the ones that have exactly what you're looking for. So that's a good thing. Some of your cheaper seeds, they just harvest and put them all in there.
And get trash and everything.
Get trash and everything in there. So the cheaper the seed, the normally the trashier it is, and the less care that is done to the selection of it. That's just part of it. But seed saving can be fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I wouldn't personally me, I wouldn't spend a lot of time and resources on certain things because I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze.
Juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, like onions, saving seeds from onions or beets or carrots going into that second year.
That's a lot of.
And even tomatoes, to me, it's not worth it. These people that do it out there, that have specialized equipment, they do so much of a better job than what I can do. So that is my thoughts on seed saving. But look here, show that book right there that
Yeah. So, are we gonna give it away?
we can.
So I found this book when I was reading some articles, and it was referenced several times. And it's actually 10 books in one. And in the comments, put if you save seeds or what type of seeds you'd like to save, and we'll do a drawing for this book.
Yeah, now this book right here, I read the book pretty quick. It is a beginner book.
Very, very beginner.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Very simple.
I skipped through most of it pretty quick, but it's a good book. It's just very.
It goes into if you want to save seeds to sell and legal stuff and one important thing that you've got to do is label your seeds.
Yeah, now that's been a problem with me for a long time is record keeping.
Yeah, and you need to label it with, not just the variety, everything that you know about that seed.
So once you've got your seeds saved and you've got them dried down to a good low moisture content, then what I would do is put them in a Ziploc bag, a good Ziploc bag, preferably buy one of those freezer Ziploc bags, the heavier duty ones, put them in the refrigerator. And they'll say, now you can do it at room temperature, which would be fine. I prefer to use something like a refrigerator. Mm-hmm. The problem with refrigerators is if you don't put them in a sealed bag, the humidity can jump up. Mm-hmm. So you want to get that air out of it, make them in an airtight bag, put them in the refrigerator. They'll last for a long, long time. The higher the oil content, the less storage you will have with the seeds. So you want, if you're going to do seed saving, tomatoes, pepper seeds, some of those will last up to 30 years if kept correctly. Corn seed can last 3 to 5 years pretty easy. Pepper seeds, I didn't mention that, can last a long time. So a lot of these can last for a long period of time. Anything with a high oil content is not going to last as long, such as beans and peas. Not going to get near as long out of those. Although you can get a few years out of them if done correctly.
Is it better to put in the freezer or the refrigerator?
Either one. I think the refrigerator's fine. I really think that's just as good as any of it. So save your seeds. Okay, so let's talk about how do you check the germination on there. Now the way we do things around here for the most part is we send all our stuff to an accredited lab, and it's a process to go through. We have to fill out these forms. We have to pay big money to get things done. But we get these reports back showing all kind of stuff. But for you, the homeowner, how do you want to check the germination to see if your seeds is good, like the white roselle there? Actually, you sent that off to the seed lab and found out. Then when we come back, we did another little test. You can do what we call the paper towel test. And I do this periodically. If I'm questioning the seed lab on a particular variety, I actually did it this morning, I'll do this. You could take paper towels, wet them, and put the seed in between them there. Make sure they're not in standing water, but moist water. Give them 4 or 5 days, go back and check, and you can count your germination within that.
You see the little sprout.
Mm-hmm. And you can double check yourself on that. It's a good method used for the homeowner there, and it's pretty dadgum accurate. But the thing is, you just don't want it sitting in water because you'll get mold on there. You want it moist, but not sopping wet. There you have it, seed saving.
Yeah, if you have any tips, put it in the comments.
Yep, we're not seed saving experts by no means. So
it's just a hobby that I want to get better at.
Yep. And you're learning. You're doing better.
Yep.
You're doing better. So if you see us beside the road, walking through some knee-high weeds, hunting some strange hibiscus, that'll be us.
Or if you have any in your area, and you would love to share.
Native plants.
Native
plants.
Yeah.
We was in Ohio and we was at a creek in Ohio with the grandbabies. We'd carry them out to this nice little park. There was Mama Hoss over there trying to save some seeds off of some hibiscus.
Well, there wasn't any ready, so I was going to try to pull it up.
And I talked her out of it.
Well, I couldn't.
Well, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to pull native plants up. If you can save the plant, some seeds, that's okay. But don't go pulling up plants on somebody else's property.
What was the name of that park? McGee Park.
McGee Park.
If
And,
anybody
Dayton,
lives
Ohio.
close to McGee Park,
And
there's some hibiscus there. I'd
what was
love
the
to
name of the
see.
little town it was in? Ketterland?
No,
Beaver Creek?
Centerville. right?
Centerville, that's where, Centerville. Up in Ohio, all these little towns are mingled together. But yeah, anyway, there we have it. Let's get into Garden Spotlight.
All right. Jonathan Baker.
We really can't tell a whole lot because that picture didn't turn out real good. I'm going to use this right here. This is some drone footage. Can y'all tell that right there? That is a beautiful garden.
I think we'll throw up the original picture.
All right, let's do that.
All right. So Jonathan Baker, Little Rock, Arkansas. The first one is May 30th, and the second one is June 27th. He has corn, okra, carrot, rainbow carrots, squash, zucchini, Mississippi purple hull peas, rattlesnake, halcinator, pickle, and cucumber.
I love the design of his garden. That's one thing I'm really on right now is garden design. I love that right there. He did a good job with that. It's feasible. It works really good. It's tight. He's not wasting any space there. He's got the fence around it to keep critters out. So, yep.
Good deal. Thank you, Jonathan, for sending that.
All right, folks, the old goat. If you see the old goat on the set here somewhere, he moves around, he gets a little nervous. We are drawing today for last week's winner. If you find the old goat, put in the comments below where he's at, and we'll do a draw next week on this week's winner. And this week's winner is John Ross. Finally got an easy pronounced name there. John Ross, send us your shipping information too.
I just went blank. Support@growhouse.com.
And you will be gifted a wonderful pair of Get Dirty socks, John. Man,
So let's
you'll
talk
have
about
happy feet.
the hurricane.
Hurricane run through, and we got about 4 inches of rain off of it. We had one death in our county. A tree fell on the house there, but everybody else did pretty good. Moved on up, a lot of rain, but we was fortunate.
Yeah, a lot of sticks.
A lot of sticks. I wanted to bring this up before we left here. We very well may be doing our last Robo Roast show.
Really? Why?
Because I got a letter in the mail yesterday. We have a cousin that we have come to find out, or I have, that's passed away in Canada that had an $11.5 million estate that I think we're going to get. So I got this letter in the mail yesterday from Scott Shitwright. Folks, that's his name, Shitwright. Shitrit. Scott is with a company out of Ontario, Canada, and he has this letter addressed to me telling me that I have a cousin in Ontario, Canada that passed away without any kin people. And my cousin's name was Marcus Key. I didn't know Marcus Key, but Marcus was a real estate developer and investor in Canada. He died from COVID-19 about 3 years ago at St. Joseph Health Center. And we are privy to his inheritance. Now, the only thing is, I'm going to have to send a little money in to get this inheritance, to pay for the legal part of it, to pay for the legal part.
How much money you got to send in?
I don't know yet. I'm contacting Scott Shitwright. Did not leave a phone number. He only left his email. So I got to email Scott and find out how much money we got to send in and where to send it to, so that we can get this in the works, this $11.5 million. So I'm excited about this right here. I've got a lot of cousins out there, and I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to be in on this deal because I'm the only one that's going to send the money in. And if I send the money in, I'm the only one that should be getting this money.
So we're going to be rich. How long is
We're
it
going
going
to be
to take
rich,
to get this done?
$11.5 million. He said it wouldn't take long. He says this is 100% risk-free. So anybody out there that's worried about us losing our money, Scott Shitwright said, don't worry about it. It's 100% risk-free. He has all the necessary documentation to expedite in a highly professional and confidential manner.
They went to a lot of trouble, didn't they?
So anyhow, folks, I just want to let y'all know we are filthy rich right now, $11.5 million. I found this out yesterday, I like cried.
Yeah.
I did. I said, it's come through.
Coming through? Yeah.
So if you see us on a big yacht somewhere in the Caribbean or whatever, you say, Hoss got his money from Marcus Key out of cousin Marcus. He was a real estate
From
developer.
lawyer.
Scott Shitwright. Yep, Scott's my buddy now. All right. Thank you, folks. Hope you enjoy everything. You know, we're gonna get out there in a few days. We gotta let things dry out a little bit, because we're gonna get out there and get started, because I'm getting a little bit pumped up about fall gardening. Speaking of that, I forgot to mention this. We got brassica
Oh, yeah.
plants that we're gonna have. We've got them on the website now. Brassica plants, collards, kale,
Broccoli.
broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. 5 different brassicas we're gonna have plugs for sale. We got them for pre-sale now for shipping in September. We're probably gonna have them for about 4 to 6 weeks there. Also garlic, we got garlic pre-sales up, elephant garlic and the hard neck, soft neck garlic. And we're gonna start pre-selling strawberries next week. So excited about that. Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's time, folks, to get outside, enjoy this weather, and get those hands dirty.